Jeremy Corbyn says he can stop a no-deal Brexit if he is elected as temporary Prime Minister. Well, the Labour leader has written to opposition parties asking them to support him in a no-confidence vote in Boris Johnson. Mr Corbyn says he would then lead a time-limited government and then delay Britain's exit from the EU before going on to call a general election. Well, the Liberal Democrats have dismissed this plan as nonsense. Sky's political correspondent Lewis Goodall has more details.
It begins, the finale to the Brexit saga to be played out in the autumn, the outlines of which already honing into view. In a letter to his fellow opposition party leaders, Jeremy Corbyn says that if he can defeat the government in a confidence vote in September, that they should support him to become Prime Minister.
I hope that they will all support the motion of no confidence that I will put, and that will ensure that this government then cannot continue with this headlong pursuit of a no-deal Brexit, and that would mean a caretaker government led by Labour, which would be a government in order to prevent a no-deal Brexit and bring about a general election so the people of this country can decide their future.
It's an overture many leading parliamentarians in those same smaller parties have been quick to reject.
Jeremy Corbyn cannot command the confidence of all his MPs, never mind from across the House of Commons. That is not going to happen, regardless of what we Liberal Democrats do.
Speculation has mounted in recent weeks in Westminster about another figure to lead an alternative government who is less controversial than Corbyn. Senior Remainers are still holding out that hope.
I don't think it would be a binary choice. I think there would be other options, and I think the House of Commons would try to find such an option. And I think that there would be options which did not include Jeremy Corbyn as Prime Minister.
But even if someone could be anointed and command a majority, there's another obstacle, getting Boris Johnson to resign in their favour, which by law, although by precedent, he will not be obliged to do.
Is that whoever's got a better shot of the confidence of the House has a better shot at being Prime Minister.
If Boris Johnson refused to resign, it would put the Queen in a very difficult position.
If Boris Johnson refused to resign, despite being evidently less well placed to form a government than Jeremy Corbyn, it would put Her Majesty in a difficult position, yes.
So getting to that point will be difficult enough. But this is all about Corbyn laying down a marker to dispel all the talk of a government of national unity, that the only unity should be behind him. Expect constitutional upheaval in just a few weeks' time. If no other means to force the Prime Minister to extend Article 50 can be found, and anti-no dealers really do want to stop it, it probably is Corbyn or bust. Lewis Goodall, Sky News, Westminster.
Let's speak to Sunrise's political correspondent Tamara Cohen, who is in Westminster, about Jeremy Corbyn's proposal. It's been released this morning. It's not gone down too well so far.
No, there's been quite a frenzy of reaction to it, Sarah Jane, but much of it not very positive, which sheds doubt on whether he'd have the numbers in the House of Commons to carry out his plan to be a temporary Prime Minister, just to call an election to try and extend our stay in the European Union and stop no deal. Now, unsurprisingly, Downing Street are using this as an opportunity to draw a red line between themselves and Labour, saying Labour is now the party of stopping Brexit. This is what a Number 10 spokesperson said. They said there is now a clear choice, either Jeremy Corbyn as Prime Minister, who will overrule the referendum and wreck the economy, or Boris Johnson as Prime Minister, who will respect the referendum and deliver more money for the NHS and police on our streets. Now, the Lib Dems have been straight out of the trap, saying this is nonsense, and they say it's nonsense because Jeremy Corbyn, they say, doesn't command a majority of his own party and couldn't attract Conservatives to his cause. Therefore, they say he couldn't be the person to lead this. He's had a more cautious welcome from the SNP of 35 MPs and from Plaid, the Welsh nationalists, who say that they would join in and vote no confidence with Jeremy Corbyn if he made stronger his commitment to stopping Brexit, to having that second referendum. But he addressed his letter to 3 rebel Conservatives. They're still thinking it over. And, of course, the big question is the one raised by the Lib Dems and also by the Green MP Caroline Lucas, who say if Jeremy Corbyn can't get enough support for him to be the temporary Prime Minister who does this, will he row in behind someone else, perhaps another Labour MP who's a bit more palatable to those in other parties? Now, Jeremy Corbyn has made pretty clear that he is the leader of the opposition, and so he is the obvious person to lead this. And, of course, the question question for rebel Conservatives who say, look, they would never join in anything if it was led by Jeremy Corbyn, is what if it is the only option? What if they don't find another way through Parliament in order to stop a no-deal Brexit? Will it come down to a choice between Jeremy Corbyn as a temporary Prime Minister or potentially Boris Johnson taking the country towards no deal?
Tamara, as you said, the Lib Dems have flat out refused this proposal by Jeremy Corbyn, and then they are growing in confidence. In fact, their ranks are swelling. Another MP added to the Lib Dems, Dr. Sarah Wollaston.
Yes, Sarah Wollaston, the MP in Totnes, elected as a Conservative in 2010, left the party earlier this year because she supports a second referendum and staying in the EU. There she is with the other two Conservatives who left at the same time to join the independent group Change UK. That, of course, all fell apart after the European elections. She's now the 14th Lib Dem. They've had Chuka Umunna join them from Labour and, of course, won a by-election from the Tories a couple of weeks ago. We're going to be hearing more from their leader Jo Swinson today about her plans for stopping no deal through Parliament.